Linton. That is Jarom Jordan. Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline via Zoom is Trevor Matich for another Matich Monday on BYUSN, ESPN College Football Insider and National Champion. Trevor, great to have you back here. I just hope you got enough sleep over the weekend, unlike a Georgia Tech fan who fell asleep in the middle of the game, and you happened to tweet that out.
I know I felt for that guy because he was sound asleep during the game, and I felt like I needed to be asleep. It feels like a normal football weekend, which for me feels like I'm incredibly sleep deprived, going on 10 minutes of sleep half the time for the night. So that's actually a good feeling for me, and I'm happy to have it. That poor Georgia Tech fan, though. Georgia Tech was getting blistered by UCF at home. And there was a Georgia Tech fan who was wearing a Georgia Tech mask who found a way to fold his arms, lean back across the bleachers behind him, and fall sound asleep. Now, he became a national meme. I said it out right away because I thought it was rather hilarious. But I don't blame it, because Georgia Tech, if you're a student there and you're not about to fall asleep at all times because of what it takes to be able to pass those tough Georgia Tech courses, then you're not studying hard enough. So, yeah, it was hilarious, but I give him credit for being a Georgia Tech guy.
Hey, UCF's got an open date on November 7th, and BYU fans keep clamoring for a date with them. Does BYU want UCF on November 7th?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, as long as UCF doesn't think that BYU is a filet-o-fish sandwich, of course, that's a throwback to a few weeks ago. But I think UCF and BYU would actually be a very interesting matchup, Evan. I think that UCF would want BYU then if UCF is ranked when they get there, especially if they're undefeated, and if BYU is ranked. Because UCF wants to make not just the New Year's Six, they want to make the playoff. And with the reemergence of the Big Ten, it is going to be more difficult for UCF as a member of the Group of Five to get into the top four, to get into the playoff. They would need every ranked victory they could get. So BYU could actually make themselves very attractive to UCF if they especially go undefeated. But if BYU is ranked, when it comes time to consider scheduling that game.
BYU up to number 18 in the AP poll. Normally we'd be celebrating this like it was this massive deal. It is a cool thing, no doubt, but without 4 leagues participating, the Big Ten says it's coming back. We'll see with the Pac-12. Big Ten still not in the poll. BYU climbs 3 spots thanks to a Navy win in part. What do you think of number 18 in the AP poll right now?
I think it's great. I think it's validation for all the hard work these guys have been putting in. Not just the players, but the coaching staff as well. There's been a lot of criticism that the program hasn't really gotten off the ground the way they wanted to under Coach Kalani Sitake. And I think this is validation that it is moving in the right direction, that they are filling out this roster with national caliber players. And they're doing it not by recruiting the 5 stars or even the 4 stars. They're doing it by bringing in great athletes who are great people, and then using that second part of it to mold them into outstanding college football players. And what it means relative to the Big Ten, the Pac-12 not being in the polls right now is not really relevant to me, because the teams that are playing are the teams that BYU is competing with from that standpoint. And this is, I think, fruit on the tree that the players can have, knowing that this coaching staff knows what they're doing, and that the recruits can have, knowing that they can go play for BYU and be on a ranked team.
ESPN's Trevor Matich with us on BYU Sports Nation. For what it's worth, the coaches poll includes the Big Ten teams, and they ranked BYU number 23.
You mean the Sports Information Directors poll?
Well, technically it's called the coaches poll, but hey, number 23 with the Big Ten. Trevor, what's the ceiling for BYU once the Big Ten returns, and if and when the Pac-12 tries to fit themselves into national relevance and rankings?
Well, if you assume hypothetically that BYU wins out, I think the ceiling is probably high teens, because all of a sudden, when the Big Ten starts to play, they'll have probably 6 teams that are ranked immediately. And you'll have some cannibalism in there in the ACC or the AAC. They've got 3 teams that are ranked right now. The lowest one is number 17. And I think that BYU, if they keep winning, will stay in the poll. But again, when you add all those Power 5 teams in that are traditional names, that are traditionally ranked high, if those teams keep winning, they'll move ahead of BYU, and they should, because BYU, because of COVID and the changes in scheduling, has lost their opportunity to prove themselves against the likes of teams that would have been ranked like Minnesota. So that's a tough thing. But either way, to win games and hang around in the poll. That's what you need. Remember, everything's a building block, and everything goes back to recruiting, and it goes back to belief. The players have believed in Coach Sataki and this staff since they got in here, and so there's not a problem with that. But I think from a standpoint of the recruits that want to be able to compete at the high level, BYU ranked takes away one of the negative recruiting points. So staying there as long as possible is important, and they can stay there all season, even with the addition of the Big Ten, and even if the Pac-12 comes back.
You played on the only undefeated team in BYU history in 1984, winning the national championship. You went from unranked to national champ. Auburn did that in, 2011? They were the first team to do that since BYU. So give us a sense of what it would take for BYU to have a quote-unquote special season against a schedule. I'm going to put on the blue goggles here. Against the schedule that ESPN FPI says BYU has a chance to win the rest of the games except for Houston by 83% or better.
That worries me. That worries me because most of the teams that BYU faces have athletes that can beat BYU. Maybe not 11 for 11, some of them, but one-on-one. They have individual players that can go out there. You can game plan for those guys. They can cause you fits, and it could be trouble. I don't want to put the pressure on BYU that if they don't win out, it's not a special season. It will be very difficult for them to win out, and it will be a tremendous accomplishment even against this schedule, especially considering what they're facing in terms of this crazy season. But I think Houston is probably the biggest obstacle to that. I mean, FPI, Football Power Index, does say that Houston, I think, is favored, right?
Yes.
In that game in Houston, if it comes off. And that will be a feather in BYU's cap if they're able to pull that off, and it will give the pollsters another opportunity to look at BYU as a team that is worthy of being ranked, even if it is only in the late teens and in the early 20s. Again, it doesn't matter where they're ranked. If they're able to stay ranked, then those dominoes fall their way for another recruiting cycle.
Trevor, right now, focus for BYU football on the Troy Trojans coming off their season opening win over a bad Middle Tennessee team, 47-14. The Trojans come to Provo, set to play on Saturday night. What did you learn about Troy, having watched them take on that team from Middle Tennessee?
Yeah, Middle Tennessee doesn't have their best roster this year. But at the same time, though, Troy is Troy. Troy's a team from Alabama that brings in those guys with a chip on their shoulder that wanted to go to Alabama and Auburn, but didn't quite make it because they can only sign 25 a year, or they can only have 25 additional scholarships a year. There's ways to fudge it that you can gray shirt and some other things. But those athletes on that Troy team showed me against Middle Tennessee, first of all, that they're physical. They ran the ball 55 times, averaged about 4.5 a carry, but they didn't bust off a lot of long runs. They busted off a bunch of 10-yard runs, 15-yard runs, that kind of a thing. But just over the course of 55 carries, they hammered it. And so it'll be a physical test for BYU. And then Troy was also very efficient in the passing game. Once again, they didn't have the big, long strikes, but they had a very good completion percentage. They threw for 200 and some yards, and it was the kind of a passing game that can give you fits if you have to sell out to the line of scrimmage to stop the run. This will be a very good test for BYU, and if they're able to win it, will be a quality win. But that's a big if, because Troy is a worthy opponent.
And when you look at what BYU hopes to do in this game that they did in the first game, it's dominate on the offensive line. And Trevor, it will have been 19 days before games. It's been 19 years since BYU had that big of a gap between games due to the COVID cancellation with the Army. So what do you expect from BYU? Do you expect rest, other?
Maybe a tad of rust, a little bit. I think that they won't use that as an excuse, and they shouldn't, just like you shouldn't use it as an excuse that BYU pounded Navy because Navy apparently didn't hit as much in practice as a lot of people thought they should have. That's unfair to BYU. BYU went out there and was the physical team, and I think that game happened the way it should have happened. And this game will happen the way it should happen. I expect that the running game will be solid as long as they can keep running backs upright, not injured. But I think the running game will take the next step. The passing game is what needs to take the next step, really, because you've got an experienced quarterback in Zach Wilson, a guy with a tremendous arm, a guy that's able to move, but he still doesn't have the chemistry, at least not based on the Navy game, that he needs to have with a lot of his new receivers, young receivers, especially with tight end Matt Bushman out. This offense will work at its best when the quarterback can drop back and know where to throw, not based on the open guy he sees, but know where to throw based on what he sees the coverage is. see the coverage, throw to a spot on time, trust the receiver to be there. That takes time. And with the limited spring practice, limited summer, and only one game under their belt, they're not going to have that kind of chemistry in the passing game yet with all the turnover at the receiver position. So what I want to see in this game is more chemistry, more timing throws, more trust between the quarterback and receivers.
Trevor, where do you expect BYU to have the most dominating edge against Troy on Saturday night?
I think it's going to be on the linebacker and middle of the defense. I think Kairos Tonga is so much fun for me to watch. At the same time, he's terrifying for me to watch because I played center. And that kind of guy would make me 3 inches shorter by the time the game is over. And I love watching him play because people bounce off him, just like you're throwing pebbles at Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 70s. It's hilarious to watch that happen. I know it takes a lot of work and it hurts. It still hurts for him, but he's great to watch. And then the linebacking core for BYU, and I would include the safeties in this because a lot of those guys are interchangeable, are so fast and so deep with playmakers. And I think that's going to be the biggest edge that BYU will have. Troy is used to being the fastest team when they're not playing necessarily a Power 5 school. They're going to meet a BYU defense that has the speed to be able to run with them.
NFL teams through 2 weeks, there's some 0-2 teams. Sometimes one of these makes the playoffs or makes it interesting. Do you have an 0-2 NFL team that you think still has a shot at the playoffs?
Well, I hate to say this, but I'd say the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate to say this because I played for the Washington football team back when they used to have a different name than that. And so the division teams, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Giants, it's hard for me to be balanced in my analysis of them because of my emotional connection to wanting to see abhorrent things on the field happen to them. But I am balanced about it because that's my job. It's just like when I talk about Utah. I'm fair to Utah. I do telestrator breakdowns about good things that they do.
Not on this show, you don't.
No, but I do. So putting on my analyst hat, Philadelphia, just because, the game they lost to the Rams this week, that was the hot Rams team all the way across the country. I get that. The opener is what really hurt them because they lost to the Washington football team, but Philadelphia's offensive line was decimated by injuries. They had their right tackle get hurt. They had a rookie 4th-round draft choice starting over there. They had their left tackle was actually the 38-year-old they signed off the street to back up their right guard who was injured, who then had to move to left tackle. They had put in another right guard, and the big matchup advantage for the Washington football team with that was that their defensive line has 5 first-round draft choices, including Chase Young from Ohio State this year, 2nd pick in the draft. So that is something that I think will settle in as guys get healthy on the line, as they start to figure out what to do, the guys that do have to play. I think Philly will kind of get back to where they'll be a danger in that division because that division right now is rather abysmal.
Trevor Matich, the consummate pro, sharing his unbiased opinion, yes, even about the Philadelphia Eagles. And I am hoping you get a nap at some point, if it's not today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, Trevor, because you've earned it.
Spencer, I will. February.
Here's to February.
That's right.
Because I will get a nap. I'll get a good night's sleep in February as long as the college football season continues, as we hope it will. So here's to hoping I'm exhausted.
Amen to that. Thanks, Trevor.
All right, thanks.